Good evening. Thank you for joining us on the Millennium Tonight program, and thank you for tuning in this evening. My name is Lovisa Chilufia. Thank you so much, our dear viewer, for finding time to be part of the conversation tonight. And of course, we're live on your top set decoders on channel 95 as always. And on our Facebook page, it is Millennium TV Zambia. Be sure to tune in and be part of the conversation. Tonight, we talk about stability of Zambia's health system. Joining me on set is Lunte Member of Parliament, Honorable Mutoto Kafwaya. Honorable, good evening. Welcome to the program. How are you doing?
Good evening. Thank you so much, Lovisa. Good evening to our viewers. I'm glad to be back on Millennium TV.
Yes, you complained a lot the other day, I think, but you were attacking me basically.
No. I was just saying, have I been blacklisted? From appearing on your TV platform. But yeah, thank you for the invite. I'm very grateful.
Let's kick off tonight's discussion by talking about the 100 days of hope that the Tonse Alliance launched today. And of course, I can see the tag in your neck as a VVIP, as a VIP delegate at the launch. Yeah. Let's talk about what this 100 days of hope is all about.
Okay, so thank you so much, Lovisa. And today is the 4th of May, 2026. We have only 100 days to go before we go to the polls on the 13th of August of this same year. So today we begin our countdown, 100 days countdown. When we wake up tomorrow on the 5th, excuse me, we're going to only remain with 99 days. Now, we know that the Zambian people have gone through a lot during these past 5 years. And the only hope that the Zambian people have reside in the Tonse Alliance. So we begin a journey today of 100 days of hope. And so we are calling upon the Zambian people in their households, in their communities. We are calling upon Zambian people in their organizations, companies, everywhere they are, to begin to spread the message of Tonse Alliance as the only hope that we have as a nation. We are calling upon our people to begin to spread the good news that is contained in the manifesto of the Tonse Alliance, because what you have in the manifesto are the solutions that we need as a people to get Zambia working again, to get companies employing again, to get the economy actually, stimulated, for economic activity, stimulated for job creation, stimulated basically, for opportunities to exist in the, in our space.
Right.
So this is a very important journey we begin today, and let me take this opportunity to directly call upon the Zambian people to join the journey. The journey starts today. Let's mobilize. Let's tell people the good news, and the good news is Tonse Alliance is a government in waiting. It's a hope that we have for our nation. Let's work towards it.
Right. You say that the 100 days of hope is just to also help redeem the people because they've been through a lot in the past 5 years. What exactly do you mean when you say the people of Zambia have gone through a lot in the past 5 years?
I think, Lovisa, today I really don't want to go backwards to talk about the problems that have happened, because the Zambian people know. Okay, these people we are talking to, they already know what they have gone through. Now, the Zambian people don't want to continue going through the same problems. And the only way to solve this problem is by changing government. So this is the journey of hope. We have been in despair all this long. let's try, to think strongly about what we have gone through ourselves without having to have another person to come and tell you that you stayed, so many years in load shedding. You don't have, to go back to the civil servants and tell them you have stayed, in holding position. You don't want to go to the young people and say, look, this government has been using a database to employ police officers, employing secretly. Even the president can come and, promise you that they are resolving it, and it ends like that. The Minister of Energy can come on the floor of the House and say, I demand that you check the price of electricity and come back to me, and you're going to dissolve Parliament without ever getting a response. So let's not go back there. We have been there. These are our despair, the basis of our despair, but we now begin the journey of hope. This is the journey of hope. We want our people to know that the alternative government, which is here, the Tonse Alliance, will take us out of these issues. So I would rather we focused on looking at what is it that we can do in all of these, sectors of our economy to make sure that we take people out of the despair situation into the hope which we begin today.
All right. You speak about the 100 days. How do you intend on rolling it out as the Tonse Alliance?
It's already begun. The Tonse Alliance President, Honorable Brian Mundubile, has launched this, 100 Days of Hope. It was launched this afternoon at Golden Peacock. And in that event, Tonse Alliance was able to welcome OZA as a group, as a consortium of political parties who have also joined Tonse Alliance to offer support to the presidential candidate for Tonse and Tonse in general for the August 13th general elections. So clearly Tonse is on the move. Clearly, Tonse is happening. It's a thing. And joining the Tonse president today, I would like to call upon my brothers and my sisters who are sitting in other opposition political parties to consider coming to join this journey, the journey of hope. Tonse Alliance journey of hope begins today.
All right. Honorable, let's get into our conversation for the evening. And we're obviously speaking about Zambia's health system and how stable it is. But I think before we get into our conversation, let's listen to what outgoing United States Ambassador to Zambia, Michael Gonzalez, said at his welfare party.
For decades, the U.S. relationship with Zambia was one centered on aid. The United States has provided billions of dollars of assistance to Zambia, helping the country reach HIV epidemic control, contributing to a 20-year extension and increase in life expectancy, slashing malaria deaths, and truly impacting positively the lives of every Zambian alive today. But last year, when we paused funding to review our assistance programs, so much of Zambia's health system began to crumble almost overnight. Despite over $7 billion of health assistance since 2000 and the hard work of many Zambians alongside us, that crumbling system revealed that while we thought we were building capacity, successive Zambian governments had not built systems. Too often, Zambian officials and leaders abdicated their responsibilities, letting the United States pay for health care, while officials diverted government funds to their own pockets across successive governments. Last year, I stood at a table and I shed tears before the world when I announced that the United States was cutting $50 million in health assistance. After years of pleading, I could no longer stand by while Zambian government refused to stop or to take action to hold people accountable for the systematic and nationwide theft of U.S.-provided medicines, while the Zambian citizens for whom they were intended went without. 1 year later, Not a single notable person has been arrested since February of last year. Not a single notable prosecution has even begun. After a year's pause, or after last year's pause of our assistance, we resumed almost all of our health assistance. Over $400 million in assistance, including $75 million in medications alone. We continue to pay the salaries for over 23,000 Zambian healthcare workers, as we have done for decades. That is the legacy of America's support to the Zambian people. Now, I know that there have been alarmist allegations recently, but let me be clear. Any suggestion that the United States would withhold critical life-saving healthcare support from those Zambians whose lives, whose health depend on it, unless we get critical minerals, is disgusting. It is absolutely and patently false. In reality, since October, my government has offered over $2 billion in additional grant assistance for health and economic growth to Zambia. But we can no longer accept empty promises. The future has to look different. Zambian government must also increase Zambian funding, staffing, ownership of its system. This isn't to impose our will. It's the only way that we know for Zambia to truly own a sustainable healthcare system and to enable robust growth. It's the only way we know to ensure that the system serves the people while finally breaking the pattern of aid dependence. Since January, however, like with so many of our other overtures to the Zambian government over the years across successive governments, we've had effectively no substantive engagement from Zambian officials to move these efforts forward. Our calls go ignored, questions unanswered, meetings canceled, leaving us without even opportunities to speak, much less to engage in substantive deliberations. Instead of continuing to languish without engagement, the actual funding under our health MOU should have started this month. Instead, we've reached April 30th, still cobbling together funds for mismatched projects without an implementation plan to guide us forward under Zambian leadership, much less a finalized MOU that provides the strategic approach. We know that the Zambian budget today cannot even afford to pay the social services that are being provided, not to mention the increased healthcare funding or the myriad other huge budget commitments that seem to be pledged every day. So something has to change. Something has to change if Zambia will ever meet its full potential or be able to sustainably provide services to its own people. At the same time, the Zambian government's own reports reveal that every year this country loses over $4 billion in dirty money flowing to East Asia. That's Zambian money that's not captured in this economy, that doesn't benefit the Zambian people, that doesn't contribute to the budget. If taxed, that would bring an additional $1 billion for the Zambian government to fund healthcare, to fund education, social services, development. Every year, hundreds of millions of dollars of Zambian government funds are lost to the Zambian people through.
The assertions by the outgoing ambassador in his statement are deeply regrettable, undiplomatic, and inconsistent with the spirit of mutual respect that underpins relations between sovereign nations. The statement is also contrary to the spirit of the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations of 1961, the convention, which clearly stipulates the conduct of diplomats serving in receiving states. The remarks by the outgoing ambassador violate, amongst others, Article 3 of the Convention, which stipulates the functions of a diplomatic mission, and Article 41, which requires diplomats to not only respect the laws and regulations of the receiving state, but also not to interfere in the internal relations of the host. Further, and characteristic of the outgoing ambassador's approach during his tour of duty The remarks, which as we have already noted were delivered during a social event, have not been communicated to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation by way of an official complaint or démarche or otherwise, which underscores the outgoing ambassador's lack of respect for the receiving state and for diplomatic processes.
Right. That was the outgoing U.S. ambassador to Zambia, Michael Gonzalez, at his welfare party, and of course, the honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mlambo Haimbe, responding to his remarks at his farewell party. And today, Honorable Mutoto Kafwaya, obviously we get into our conversation and maybe just talking about the speech. I know you don't want to get deep into the speech and you want to bring solutions to the table, but let us start by speaking about our health system as a country. The ambassador raises concerns about Zambia having a failed health system. Let us begin from there, and especially maybe we can talk about the Patriotic Front as well, which is the previous government, and talking about a failed health system in Zambia and other successive governments as well. How is it possible that we have failed to build a strong health system as a country?
You see, the ambassador spoke, the ministers also responded. The Zambian people have heard the specific issues that the ambassador teased out. He's laid them bare. I don't know if it is prudent for me to begin to go through all of those things. Now, we did have issues in the Patriotic Front, in the building of that system. During the MMD, there were issues. Today, we still have issues, okay? So, we have a problem here. Which problem you can attribute to the MMD, to the Patriotic Front, and to the current administration, UPND. Who is going to solve that problem? It is Tonse Alliance, okay? That is where the issue is. In Tonse, we are clear that when you don't have a healthy population, okay, on account of disease burden, you can't have a productive nation.
How are you going to build the health system as Tonse Alliance when we have leaders that were under the Patriotic Front in Tonse Alliance?
What is the problem with having leaders who were in the Patriotic Front?
What is it that you're going to do different this time around?
The manifesto has clearly established our vision and how we intend to operate. But you see, making reference to PF as though those of us who were in PF are incapable of running our various sectors is totally inaccurate, and it's senseless. Because I was a member of the Patriotic Front when it was in office for 5 years. And for a few years out of that 5, I was even elevated to serve in cabinet. And there are landmarks, there are clear landmarks that we were able to, to achieve during that period. Patriotic Front itself has left landmarks, which it doesn't matter what propaganda you use, you can't erase. You can't erase. So to think in terms of Patriotic Front and say, what will you bring? What
propaganda are you speaking about, Honorable? You just admitted seated here that MMD failed to build a strong health system. The Patriotic Front failed to build a health system. And the UPND has also failed to do so, which Tonse Alliance would do.
What I am telling you, Rovisa, and through you, members of the general public, is this, that the problems attributed to the failure of the health system, span a long period of time. And you can see that from the MMD, through the PF, into the current administration of UPND. Now, what I don't want to focus on is what problems existed in the Global Fund when PF was in office. It's irrelevant. What problems are existing now? The problems of theft of medicine is 61 content. People already know that. People already know that. So what the ambassador was talking about, the great chunk of that information churned out is already well known. Where does Zambia stand now? It's at a crossroads. Zambia stands at a crossroads. Who is going to fix this mess? It is Tonse Alliance. Tonse Alliance has got a blend, in leadership of people with experience, people who are young, who are coming off the universities, people who are coming from other political parties and other civil society organizations, bringing this blend of ideas. That is why, even when you look at the manifesto of the Tonse Alliance, it's such a rich manifesto because it involved experience, new minds, young minds, women, and so on and so forth. Okay? So we are going to deploy that resource to make sure that we come up with a system which works for the sector. And that system which works for the sector will ensure we have a healthy population.
You say that the Tonse Alliance manifesto has outlined how you intend on doing this. Tell us how you intend on building or strengthening Zambia's health system.
First of all, the governance, okay? The health governance has to be, crafted properly. And you do that by deploying a competent civil service. When we began, I talked about a civil service which has competent people sitting at holding position for 4 years. You understand? You have to make sure that competent civil servants are brought in to facilitate the transition. Do you see that? You have to make sure that you create structures, which structures speak to the realities of the time. Currently, we know the time we are at is at a time of theft of donations. We are at a time of, medicine, containers of medicine hidden. We're at a time of, massive corruption. So what do? You have to end, this appetite for individuals becoming rich through illicit means, and make sure that you direct public resources towards public good. That is what you do. To do that, you need experience. To do that, you need dexterity. Do you see that in Tonse? You see it from those people who are coming from MMD, from PF, and those who are coming in anew from the universities, the women who are coming in from CSOs, and so on and so forth. So you see that at leadership level to begin with. You are good. Technocratic level.
So you speak about deploying a competent civil service, meaning the one that is currently there is not competent.
It's totally incompetent. The current civil service is totally incompetent. Otherwise, how would you employ people, through secret means? If you were competent, how would you facilitate the hiding of containers of medicines? Or how do you facilitate the theft of donations? So now, don't tempt me to go there, because you see, it's not in my place anymore. The Zambian people are suffering, and we are only remaining with 100 days. We are better off focusing on how people will come out of these issues.
We can't speak about solutions, Honorable, without speaking about the real problems here. Because Ambassador Gonzalez also alleges that some officials, even in successive governments, diverted public funds for personal gain.
4 years of UPND in office, and us in the opposition, we have talked about these things countless times. We've talked about illicit financial flows. We've talked about theft of minerals. We've talked about all of these things. The Zambian people already know. The question is, how are you going to make sure that those people who are called illegal miners are brought on board? Those people who are, who are got jerabos are brought on board so that they participate in the economy and they help to create employment. That is what the questions are. The questions are, how are you going to make sure that the agriculture sector is improved so as to create more meaningful and sustainable jobs? What will you do with your abundant water bodies? Okay? These are the questions
We'll
now.
definitely get to that, Honorable Mutoto Kafwaya. But let's talk about Zambia's health system and how you are going to build a strong health system, because for years there's been issues around corruption in the health system. I think we're going to pull up an article from the president, the current head of state, in 2019 when the ambassador, the outgoing ambassador at the time, also the president, President Lungu, asked America to recall him over issues to do with corruption, and we're going to pull up that article. But let us speak about how you're going to strengthen the Zambia's health system as the Tonse Alliance before we even get to mines and the economy and all of that.
So if you are worried about corruption in Tonse Alliance, in Tonse Alliance we have members of parliament who were, some of who were ministers. Show me one who has been cited for corruption. There's none. In the Council of Leaders for Tonse, those of us who come from PF, none of us has been cited for corruption. So you are not worried about corruption. If you want to worry about corruption when you are looking at us, that's imaginary. Okay? So forget about the issue of corruption. And then
there will be no corruption in the
forget about the issue of corruption, because for the other people, they've not been tested. Those who are coming in from universities and looking at where we are as a country, I know that the graduates are passionate about creating jobs because they see how they have suffered, to get jobs. They also see how their friends have suffered. And they see what manner, of employment government uses. Even just employing police officers. Police officers who don't require degrees from universities. They will tell you we are following a database from 2023. You are joking. So, my friend, stop worrying about corruption when you speak in terms of Tonse. Stop completely worrying about corruption.
I'm not worried about the leadership in Tonse, Miss Honorable Kafwaya. Obviously, it's the people that you need to be giving assurance to about when it comes to corruption, accountability, and all of that. Because one of the issues, of course, that the people of Zambia are worried about is if we're going to vote for Honorable Brian Mundubile, who was in the Patriotic Front, what is he bringing different to the table as Tonse Alliance leader?
Okay, so what Honorable Brian Mundubile is bringing to the table for the nation is clearly, spelled out in the Tonse Alliance. Is bringing good governance, is bringing, a revolution in the agriculture sector, is bringing a revolution in the energy sector, is going to bring a revolution in the tourism sector, is going to bring a revolution in the mining sector. Within the mining sector, which is our anchor sector right now, you want the Zambian people to participate. You want those people who are called Jerabos, to graduate into meaningful miners. And how do you do that? You support them. How are you going to do that as Tonse? As Tonse, we are very clear, we want to create aggregators. We want to create, funding mechanisms. We want to create, support systems. And for those people to, to sustainably operate, we have to assure the availability of, electricity. We have to assure affordable and available electricity. How do you do that? You have to generate more. Where are you going to do that? Listen to me. We are not going to abandon hydroelectric generation, because in this country, we have seen regions that have got consistent water, a perennial, all the years, including years when there's a drought.
I don't want us to move away from our topic of discussion. Just yet, Honorable Kafwaya. We're still talking about Zambia's health system, and let's talk about accountability and how you're going to strengthen that as the Tonse Alliance in terms of accountability to the health system, and how we can stop relying on foreign aid as a country. You
are struggling to hear me. Maybe I'm speaking too loudly. I have
I'm
told you.
not struggling to hear you.
You are struggling. Let me
You've
tell
spoken
you.
about how you're going to deploy
Let me
new
tell
civil
you.
service,
Let me
but
tell
I
you.
think you're jumping from the question into you want to speak about agriculture and mining.
Let me tell you. Okay, without having a contest with you, I'll tell you. I have said the governance is going to be proper governance. What has destroyed this country? If you listen, because you want to anchor this conversation on the speech by the ambassador, okay? The ambassador takes note of corruption, takes note of illicit financial flows, takes note of his efforts to engage government, and they were ignoring
and lack of accountability.
And lack of accountability, that lack of transparency and so on. He says all of those things. What is causing that is corruption. Haven't we talked about corruption enough times on this platform with you and other people and elsewhere? We have talked about corruption. How do we handle that corruption? You have to have proper governance, okay? Governance and also governance of the fight against corruption. Did he not refer to the fact that the person UPND employed as a Director General of anti-corruption was herself undergoing a corruption probe? Okay, so how do you expect somebody who is undergoing a corruption probe to be the head of that institution, and you expect that you're going to have, proper fight against corruption? So that is poor governance on the part of UPND, and I've assured you that you won't see that type of governance when it comes to Tonse Alliance, because Tonse Alliance is focused on solutions. The people have suffered. People want to hear, how are we going to solve these problems? Yeah.
Let's talk about issues to do with procurement of medical supplies and medicines as well. For a long time, there's been issues surrounding shortages of medicines in the hospitals. How do we curb that as a country?
So for me, this is what I'm trying to reject, because you are taking us, you are taking me to the same things we have been discussing, which have been highlighted. Listen, the ambassador already talked. Okay, he already talked.
And what are the solutions?
So the solution is building a system based on proper governance. Build a system and you ensure that the governance of that system you build is good governance. Transparent and accountable governance. Let me tell you, I went to the National Assembly of Zambia not too long ago and proposed to amend the Anti-Corruption Act. Okay? I wanted in the Anti-Corruption Act for us to add layers of accountability, layers of transparency, which should be reported on a quarterly basis. The National Assembly of Zambia rejected my proposal. And what did they say? They said, what we have is that government, the UPND government, is planning to review the act. So this is going to be a duplication. That is not the only thing, the only, private members, law I wanted to introduce. I also wanted to introduce accountability in the creation of employment. I wanted us to come up with a law which ensured that government became accountable and transparent in showing the Zambian people what efforts government is undertaking in creating employment and what employment government is deliberately creating on a quarterly basis and reporting that. They also rejected that. So for the UPND government, who I don't want to discuss anymore, I've discussed them too much. These are things they don't want to do. So, my friend, the problem...
How are you going to bring hope to the people of Zambia, Honorable, if you don't want to point out the wrongs
we have pointed out these wrongs.
This is a time for you to give hope to the people of Zambia. How do you assume that the people know?
The people, the hope we are giving is that this corruption, you won't see it. Okay, this type of poor governance, you will not see it. What you are going to see is governance based on solutions for the problems that you have suffered all this long. This is why, even these 74 bills, some of them are going through parliamentary processes illegally. they may be checked. But let's not go there, because people already know. Let's see, what can we do in the energy sector to assure this energy? What steps do you take? Because for us, as we are saying, we are going to boost agriculture, we're going to boost tourism, we're going to boost mining. We have to assure the catalysts. We have to assure the availability of energy. How do you do that? Okay? So go around, see, what factor conditions exist in areas where you haven't done, the production of energy. And we know that if you go to the northern circuit, you won't just exploit tourism, you can also exploit hydro energy, because you have conditions that are favorable for that to be done. You do that. You also have conditions that are favorable for agriculture to happen on a continuous basis, because you have enough water. So let's come to the agriculture sector and see where we can we can have a lot of advantages. Let's teach our people, harvesting of water. Okay? Because all those streams and rivers in the northern circuit, which flow every day, every night throughout the year, we can harvest water and be able to use the harvested water for agriculture throughout the year. How do you support people to do that? You support people by deliberate policies and making sure that those policies are implemented. Do you see that in the Tonse manifesto? Yes, you do see that. Okay. Now, with this good governance I talked about, what you have is, what you promise is what you get. Because you are talking about people, a group of people who have integrity, a group of people who are concerned about the promises they make. When you make a promise, you want to deliver it. So if you are able to do that, then you teach people across the country where there are no rivers and streams which flow every year. You teach them how to harvest natural water that falls from the sky. You teach them how to just make sure that people have water throughout the year. This water will facilitate that agriculture we're talking about throughout the year. And the farmer will make more money. A farmer will make, more profit if they are able to, to produce throughout the year.
In events where there is a drought and there are individuals that do not live near any water bodies, how do they harvest water? So
in this country, we have all lived in this country long enough. We know what influences the rain patterns. In fact, I was privileged to sit in that ministry. You know that when you have a La Nina, the area that will be affected is the northern part. And we know when we have an El Nino, the area that will be affected is the southwest. Okay? So if the Pacific Ocean records an El Nino, we know what is going to happen. UPND should know, we should know. So if we know that the temperatures of the Pacific Ocean are demonstrating that we're going to have a La Nina this particular year, we know which part will be affected. And so we give proper warning signals to the people that we think are going to be affected. And those proper signals will help them to prepare for that season. But because we know that the rainfall is going to affect not only agriculture, but it's likely to affect energy and a few other things, then we know where do we concentrate in that particular year. For example, you have thermal energy coming up, you have solar energy, you have nuclear energy which you can develop, and so on and so forth. So you say in these particular rivers which begin from here and go to this ocean, we know we won't be able to generate much because we have an El Nino. So let's concentrate on the other side, but also top up the energy with these other interventions. Do you see that? You can also think about budgeting a little more for import of electricity. Okay, because you know that what we are producing in this particular area cannot be able perhaps to cover the whole country, so you budget a little more. In your national budget, you put more money to cover the imports of that deficit of electricity, so that you support the value addition, which is the basis of industrialization, which will create more jobs. Because let me tell you, creating an aggregator within the mining sector to deal with gold, for example, is not enough. That aggregator must have ready market. Okay, and that ready market should be here. So you have to begin to think about value addition, and when you add value to these products here in Zambia, then you are creating, a value system that can absorb many jobs from from the field, through to logistics into value addition. And so to do that, then you see the need for the power I'm talking about. So that power also, its generation, its investment into generation is also stimulation of what? Of opportunities and jobs. So everywhere in all of these interconnected areas, you are creating jobs. These jobs are sustainable. These jobs are meaningful jobs instead of just talking about CDF jobs. So clearly, my dear friend, for us in the Tonse, we see that the only sustainable way of assuring that people don't go through, a lifelong unemployment is by industrializing this country in every area.
Allow me to officially open our phone line, Honorable Kafwaya. For those that are tuned in this evening, our dear viewer, the number that you'll be dialing is 0770813728. That is the number that you'll be getting in touch with us on. Good evening.
Good evening, my sister.
Good evening, Mr. Mutoto.
How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Your contributions, please.
Honorable, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes. I just want to ask you a question or to make a bit of contribution on the issue of corruption. I think when you are talking about corruption and Tonse, I think that's where the home of corruption is. You remember, Mr. Mutoto Kafwaya, that Honorable Mutoto Kafwaya, that I asked you a question on Tribe FM. And the question was very clear. I said, how did you award the contract with the towers, looking at the network, how bad the network is today? Your answer was the network is bad because of load shedding. But load shedding is normal. We are still experiencing the same bad network. I want you to comment on that. What is causing this network problem? Since now we have enough electricity. Secondly, you are saying in Tonse there is no one that has been cited for corruption. It does not mean that when you are not caught, then you are not a thief. That you must understand. Just recently we heard Kambwili telling Zambian people that your leader was given some contract somewhere while he was serving as minister and he was caught for those same things. Is that not corruption allegation? So let us be clear here.
Mr. Mutoto, thank you so much.
Just because you want to protect your fellow members and your readers.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mutoto. All right, for those that are tuned in, the number is 0770813728. That is the number that you're dialing to be part of tonight's program. On our Facebook page, it is Millennium TV Zambia. Good evening, you're through to the program.
Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
You tell us your names and where you're calling from.
I'm calling from Jersey Compound, Martin. I just want to contribute on Mutoto Kafwaya's contribution on the corruption issue.
Yes, Mr. Martin.
Yes. If anything, we used to call PF as thieves, as the waste. But looking at what our friends are doing, I think, on my view, Mutoto Kafwaya, let's really get busy. We are really not going to go anywhere with this government. They are doing corruption, which is inside. It's not exposed.
Mr. Martin, please quickly make your contributions and please don't listen through your TV.
Let's, Honorable Mutoto Kafwaya, let's move together. We are there for you guys.
Thank you so much. 0770813728 is the number that you are dialing to be part of tonight's program. On Facebook, it is Millennium TV Zambia. Do find us, leave us a comment in our comment section and be part of the conversation. Good evening, you're through to the program.
Good evening, my
kindly reduce the volume on your TV. Who's calling? Yes, Moses.
I think my sister.
All right, we seem to have lost Mr. Moses. Call us back on the number that is on your screen. And for those that are tuned in, you can call us and be part of the conversation. Honorable Mutoto Kafwaya is my guest this evening as we look at the stability of Zambia's health system. And today, the Tonse Alliance launched its 100 Days of Hope ahead of the 2026 general election. We seem to have lost that call as well. The number is 0770813728. That is the number that you're dialing. You can call us, leave us a message on the same number. You can also call us via WhatsApp. You can also reach us on Facebook. It is Millennium TV Zambia. Leave us a comment in our comment section and be part of the conversation. Hello, good evening. Good evening. All right. Kindly reduce the volume on your TV when you call us so that we don't get any feedback. Do call us on the number that is on your screen, 0770813728. That is the number that you get in touch with us on. And of course, leave us a message on the same number. In case you do not have enough minutes to call in, you can just drop us a text or send us a WhatsApp. Good evening.
Good evening, thank you.
Tell us your names and where you're calling us from, sir.
Yeah, this is Frederick calling you from Lusaka.
Yes, Frederick.
Lusaka, yes. I think the honorable is saying something very, very powerful. And I think Zambians are very much ready to vote for them. But what is needed is these people are supposed to come together, especially the opposition. Because as long as they are divided, definitely things won't work out. Okay? That's my advice. Let them just come together, and then opposition, then it will work out.
All right. Thank you so much, Frederick, for your contribution. I'll take one more call and allow Honorable Kafwaya to respond. 0770813728 is the number that you're getting in touch with us on. Be part of the program by also leaving us a comment in our comment section. And of course, send us a message to the same number that is on your screen. Good evening. Hello?
Hello?
Kindly reduce the volume on your TV.
Hello, good evening.
Reduce the volume on your TV, sir.
Okay, I've reduced, madam.
Tell us your names and where you're calling us from. Yes, Mr. Brian.
Yes. Honorable, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm going to comment share a contribution. If I and the TV. If you and I'm share, we are ready to get you. So that I want to become not to choose, not to choose.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm quiet.
All right. Okay, I'll pick, I think, a set of 3 calls before we wrap up with our conversation. Honorable, I'll let you respond to our callers, Mr. Mkosa and other callers, yes.
Yeah. Rovisa, thank you so much. And let me begin by thanking the callers for pushing in. You know, when you are having public discourse, this is how it should be. People should be able to make their contribution so that we get more information in terms of how the people are feeling. Because I called in, like, you know, offering a challenge. Tell us how you did the award of contract for towers. I assume he's talking about the over 1,000 towers which were built, throughout the country by the BF. I would like to tell you, Mr. Mkosa, that I was not responsible for awarding the contract. Okay, the contract. A minister does not award contracts, so I was not responsible. So I can't tell you how it was awarded, but what you can do is you can go to the Ministry of Transport and go and find out how it was awarded. They'll give you the information. When he called me when I was on one radio station, he was complaining about the poor network, and I told him that the poor network was resulting from load shedding because the MNOs, mobile operators, were not able to put fuel in each and every tower. So where towers could not be powered, you had this poor network coming out of it. So he's saying now we have electricity. Why is the network so bad? You have a minister of technology. The current minister is Honorable Felix Mutoto. He's a UPND minister. Go and ask him what the problem is. You can't be asking me to tell you what the problem is now. You understand? And that is a problem I have seen with most UPND supporters. They fail to recognize simple things. I left the ministry. I'm no longer there. So unless you charge me to go and find out from Honorable Mutoto what the problem is, then I come and tell you. But since you've just shared that today, I have to tell you now, go to Honorable Felix Mutoto. He is the Minister of Technology. He is responsible for all mobile, mobile operators. He will be able to tell you what the problem is now. Okay? I hope we can pass on that. And then you speak to Martin. They used to think PF are thieves, right? But this man is saying the corruption that is in this UPND government is terrible. And so let's just move together so that, we remove UPND. This is 100 days we are talking about, 100 days of hope. The hope is residing in Martin's home and my home. And perhaps a few other people who are watching. If I listen to Brian, from Chipata Overspill, it is in your home where the 100 days, hope is residing. Please go spread the good news that Tonse Alliance has a solution to these problems that we are having. And once Tonse Alliance is accepted, not only by myself, Martin, Frederick and Brian, but by all the people, that we live with and all the people who are in our communities, UPND is going and these problems are going to end.
Allow me to take another call. Good evening.
Good evening, my sister.
Good evening, sir. Your names and where you're calling us from?
I'm Moses calling from Johnny.
Yes, Moses.
Mutoto Kafwaya,
But I went for when I was there. Do you fail to speak less?
My sister, my contribution, and Johnny Garandapo, Badi Ababa Tonse Alliance. These people, they want to bring a corruption, my sister. Wali mono ko bali defender corruption muleni yabo na nomba bakiri bali defender corruption yaba omuntu ashitama helicopter machopa aya sekesha ya sana kusasa Africa bali saba pachilimba bali samu supporta jawe uli omuntu ali egomba wali mona ko bakoma ni samboko baya kuchifungo mulandi wa corruption bali rangi fima banchi fyandalama my sister ababa abanga mwabe push up balanda Tonse Alliance, including the president wabo ule balanda ati bali abantu babafyenga. So these people they ask him where I said that.
No, please ask him. Ask him where I said that.
That is a challenge.
But these people to respond to him,
no, he's still there.
Hello, my sister.
Mr. Moses, we can hear you.
Ask him.
These people, my sister, corruption. But these people are too corrupt. And they are not defend corruption. And my sister, these people are same people. Over to a funny shape of Zambia. Abare to Mama Market. Umwaliama panga mu government yabo lero bakolonga nga nafuta ati balefu okukwera kuti bageze etteeka ekyalo nga bino biri mwakipusha nifinjo bagala ettevyanyu olwo batuusa kitevyanyu mama but to these people twali bagenda mu 2021 and inaze for me as a Moses never voted for President Jaga in the Chilemas. I have seen what President Jaga in the Chilemas done.
But Moses, I'll ask you to wind up.
Mukupulisha my sister. But free education, my sister. All
right, thank you so much.
My sister. So,
all right, 0770813728. We'll pick 2 more calls before we wind up with our conversation on the program. Honorable Mutoto Kafwaya is my guest. He's Lunta Member of Parliament. You can call through, be part of the conversation, and tell us where you're calling from. You can also leave us a comment in our comment section on Facebook. It is Millennium TV Zambia. Good evening.
Hello, good evening, madam.
Good evening. Your names and where you're calling us from?
Margaret.
Yes, Margaret.
Margaret.
Yes, please go ahead with your contribution.
Ndefokulanda mukirimba
Empire.
wetotera abaana ba honorable kubaliranda is very important and very special. Then twefokuba tube batupasupport sana tulina bupamo corruption eyo tulemu napali inonsa neyo balimu mu ba PF nasikusana sana tuli muno bakibawe very bad. Exactly, that was Zambia to Tresimona, and Tresimona. Quite. Today, support our opposition, Nicola see that it come over one day, the chapter so that it to shit what chula, not chula. Even in Antima market, tomorrow and the electron, this of women. That time the former customers are very fight. It's not chula.
Thank you so much, Margaret, for your contribution. We'll pick one last call on the program. 0770813728 is the number that you're dialing, is the number that you're using to participate on the program. You can call us and be part of this evening's conversation. Good evening. Reduce the volume on your TV.
Yes, good evening.
Evening, kindly reduce the volume on your TV. All right, reduce the volume on your TV when you call us. Bwezan kon volume ku TV, mwawisha ko volume ku TV pademule tumaso that we don't get any feedback in the background. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, madam.
Good evening, sir. Your names and where you're calling us from?
I'm Mr. Rupelo Zingarume.
Your names again?
My name was Leonard Zingarume.
Yes, Leonard.
Yes. No, what I want to say is that Mr. Kafwaya is right. Don't be discouraged by these people. Then they are benefiting while Zambians are complaining. Those are Buzivelas. We are there for you. We will support you. And Zambians are watching. Majority of Zambians are with you. So don't be discouraged by those Buzivelas. If they benefit, let them see. So us, we are behind you and we support you. The majority of Zambians are crying. That's because they can't explain their views. But the majority of Zambians are complaining. Only those few individuals. We want somebody. We want a father. We want somebody who's going to unite Zambia. And Zambians are watching.
Thank you so much.
Zambians are watching. And we are not happy, whatever is happening.
Thank you so much.
Don't speak for us. We are there for you. We'll support you.
Thank
You
you.
need our support. We are there and we'll fight
Mr.
together.
Leonard, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That is where we close our phone line. Thank you for all our callers this evening. Unfortunately, we can't take any more calls due to time. Honorable, I'll let you respond to our last 3 callers.
Thank you, Madam Chilufia. And thanks, Moses. Thank you, Margaret and Leonard. Now, Moses is saying we aren't the people that can be trusted with the fight against corruption because we support corruption. I was challenging you to ask him when he ever heard me supporting corruption.
You can respond to him on that.
So I find that as just nonsensical because Nobody wants corruption. Only UPND can support corruption. You know that guy who was the head at ZAMSA, he said, I went to the Attorney General, okay, and the Attorney General told me that don't you know that they are sacrificial rams? You can just be a sacrificial ram. How do you talk like that? That is what Nyasuru said. Okay? So, I'm sorry, I can't say that. I can't tolerate anybody saying that. And if indeed the Attorney General told Nyasuru that, that is something that is terrible. I would like to challenge the Attorney General to actually respond to that, so that it becomes beneficial to the public, for us to have confidence that the Attorney General under UPND can't say that. So, I'm sorry, my dear. I'm sorry, my dear. You can't see that happening. You know, the corrupt leaders, they support each other. Somebody goes to hide the helicopters and you are supporting. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Nobody supports corruption. And I've challenged you. For you to start making reference to what Honorable Kambwili said about Honorable Brian Munduvile, ACC called him. Why are they failing to call him again? Why are they failing to tell you, the Zambian people, that these are the cases that were found with Brian Munduvile's? Why? It is because Brian Munduvile's accounts have been closed. They were audited and closed. UPND sent, those who were once illegal auditors to Northern Province to go through some of what they thought they considered as projects done by Brian Munduvile. What have they done? They came back running. So you can't push propaganda to this extent. You cannot push propaganda to this extent. And let's be grateful about free education. But what is this free education doing? How far has it gone? Okay? What are the people in tertiary learning institutions saying? Free education will be improved under Tonse Alliance. It will be improved. And, Margaret, like other people who spoke earlier, are talking about unity, okay, unite. If you look at the event that we had today when the president was launching this 100 Days of Hope, we were receiving State Council Sakwiba Scott. We were receiving Honorable Kapembwa Simbao. And a few others who are coming from OZA to come and join forces with Tonse Alliance. So, we are gradually achieving this opposition unity that people have been talking about. And let's be clear, we may not achieve 100% opposition unity, but where does this thing weigh? Where is the weight? The weight is with Tonse Alliance. Listen to the words of Honorable Kapembwa Simbao today. Listen to what he said. There can only be one president at a time. And all indications are showing that Brian Munduvile will be president in August this year. Right. What did Leonard say? Right? Leonard, we accept, views that come from everybody, whether these are UPND supporters or they are supporters of any opposition political party which is not Tonse or which is Tonse. We are happy to get these views because then we understand your intonation. Listen, I've helped Moses. I've told him, if you are concerned about how the contracts for the towers were given, go to the Ministry of Transport. It is still there. There's your minister there, Tayari. He will help you. Okay? I've helped him. Go to Felix Mtati. Go and find out from him why the network is poor. So we want everybody to push in. So clearly I am not moved by the comments that they make. For me, I am here to account to the people. I am here to offer that transparency and accountability because this is what is expected of a public servant like myself.
Right. Honorable Kafwaya, unfortunately, we have to come to the end of today's conversation. I'll ask you to give us your concluding remarks as we close.
100 days of hope. It is in your hands, the Zambian people. Starting today, we begin to count down 100 days to elections. I have heard about concerns that some people have who have been saying Brian Mundubile will not be on the ballot. When we had a press briefing somewhere, I read to you the constitutional provision which states what a Zambian must possess in order for them to run for president. I can assure you now that Honorable Brian Mundubile has everything that a presidential candidate needs to have in order for them to run. Therefore, I assure you that Honorable Brian Mundubile will be on the ballot. Because there is absolutely nothing that will stop him being on the ballot. And once he's on the ballot, with his whoever is going to contend against him, it is up to our duty, yours and mine, to preach this message, the message of hope, which begins today, 100 days up to August 13th, and we vote out UPND.
Honorable Kafwaya, it's been a pleasure having you. Thank you for coming through tonight.
I'm so grateful.
And our dear viewer, we come to the end of tonight's program on Millennium TV. Joining me on set was Honorable Mutoto Kafwaya, Lunta Member of Parliament, and as we were looking at Zambia's health system and its stability. And of course, Honorable Kafwaya here and the Tonse Alliance promised to build a strong health system. Will they achieve it? Well, only time can tell. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Lavisa Chulufia. Good night.